Morning folks, Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School, back out here in another series in woodcraft on a budget. Today what we're going to talk about a little bit is axes and hatchets. I have very few examples out here, but they will give us the examples that we need. When you are talking about doing things on a budget, first of all, you're not necessarily talking about cheap or free. You're talking about something that you can afford and the best that you can afford for the money that you've got to spend. If you do not have the $150+ to spend on a Grancer's Brooks or a Wetterlings, then you need to look for axes that are American made from the past at places like flea markets, yard sales, estate sales, eBay, trade sites like the Pathfinder Trade Blanket is a good example, and at least two of these axes have come from that site. And then you'll need to have something of value to trade for that axe, depending on what value the person that has it places on it. But I also find axes all the time at places like scrap yards, sales, flea markets, and places like that. This axe is a Plum, which is a very good brand of axe. This is a Michigan pattern felling axe, and I bought this head from a scrap yard for $3 without the handle. A handle for this axe can be purchased for less than $20. I actually had someone rehang this axe for me named Chris Wick. I don't consider myself a professional axe hanger. I could do it in an emergency if I had to, but if I'm trying to get a hold of something that's going to be heirloom quality, I'm going to have it professionally hung by someone who does it all the time. If you want to learn how to hang axes properly, you can watch guys like Cody at Wrangle Star. His videos are outstanding on everything from how to make an axe handle to how to hang an axe, and I would suggest you go over there and check him out for that. But this Michigan pattern Plum felling axe is going to be now an heirloom quality axe that I have well under $50 in. To me, that is as budget as you're going to get without getting it for free for an axe with this much weight and heft, with this nice of a head and this nice of a handle and a mask. This axe can be taken care of and last for the next 100 years for that price. And heirloom quality goes right along with budget, in my opinion. Okay, again, this is a felling type axe, and if you are going to have axes for the long term, or you are thinking long term with your tool collection, then a felling axe is a must. Chainsaws run out of gas. Felling axes only run out of gas when you quit eating. For the woods and for woods travel, you want an axe, as we've talked about before, more about the size of your armpit to your hand, and I can cup this one in my hand very easily, as well as this one. And these are more of a cruising type axe handle pattern as far as the size and weight goes. One of them is a little lighter than the other. They're both a Hudson Bay pattern head, and I will try to put a diagram right here for you guys that will show you the different axe pattern heads and what the names for those heads designs are. This one again was a Michigan pattern. These are a Hudson Bay pattern. I really like Hudson Bay style axes for lots of reasons. I think they cut well, I think they swing well, I think they handle well, they balance well, they have a good hammer, squared off hammer pole in the back for pounding tent stakes and trap stakes and things like that with, so I prefer that Hudson Bay style head. Not everyone does. This one is a Collins, and it was traded for, but it is a little heavier than this Hudson Bay. That's almost exactly the same size handle length, but about a pound less head, and this one is a Norland. And Norland and Collins are another two brand names that you can find used that are very, very good American-made axes. So, this axe I traded for, again, probably got $100 in this axe. Probably got close to $100 in this axe. I bought this axe off eBay. But with shipping, I probably got close to $100 in it. Again, heirloom quality axes that can be passed down through generations if they're taken care of, that are good quality axes. $100 is not an expensive price to pay in my mind for that axe. Now you can find them much cheaper. $3 for the head, less than $20 for the handle. Do it yourself, you're back in business. And you may be able to find something like this in that range as well. These I did not find that way, so I'm telling you exactly how I obtained these axes. Okay, so let's talk real quick about hatchets. All right. This is an East Wing camp hatchet. I've had this one for a long time. The biggest problem with these East Wings is The steel that they're made out of is only 1055 high carbon, so it's fairly soft steel by comparison. The advantage to this axe is, A, you're never going to destroy it. It's one solid piece of steel wrapped in leather rings to make the handle. B, it's available. You can find these things just about anywhere brand new in the $40 range. Now you could find a Husqvarna hatchet for about the same price with a wooden handle that was made in Sweden. So it really depends on what you're looking for. But for my money, I'd probably buy the Husqvarna, although something like this is much more traditional because these things have been around forever. The telephone company hatchet that we redid in a video not very long ago, which is a Collins hatchet. Again, Collins is a good name if you're looking for an American-made antique style head. Collins is a good place to look. This has got more of a European type old world head on it. Good for pounding steaks. Good, nice double bevel here. It's not a hewing hatchet. It is an actual hatchet for processing, you know, firewood and things like that. But it's heavy. So it's not going to be as conducive for carry as something like this because it's 2 or 3 times as heavy. But it's going to get a lot of forward momentum if you're trying to cut hardwood and things like that with it. So there's something to be said for this. 15 bucks, and the handle was good when I bought it, so all I had to do was refurbish the head a little bit, and I had a nice $15 hatchet. This hatchet, or pocket axe as they're often called, is very small in comparison to the other two, and it's a Hudson Bay style head. It's also a Norland. Now this one's in a really, really fine condition, and I paid probably equal trade value. I traded for this one, and the trade value was probably equal to $100 for this. But I knew what I was getting when I bought it. I knew what they were worth. I knew what they were selling for on eBay. So I wanted to make sure that the guy got a fair deal. Could you find something like this cheaper? Probably. An estate sale, a flea market where somebody didn't know exactly what they had, you could probably find something like this in the $20 to $30 range. You can definitely find the old Plum Boy Scout hatchets in the $20 to $30 range. And again, Plum is a very good brand. You're just going to have to give it a little bit of love, but you can get that good hatchet for the $30 price range. If you're looking for an American-made hatchet that's very traditional, you can find those old Plum Boy Scout hatchets everywhere. I see them all the time at estate sales, yard sales, and flea markets. You know, guys, even Horace Kephart said, buy the best gear that you can possibly afford and the best quality gear that you can possibly afford, because someday you may have to stake your life on it. Does that mean you have to spend a lot of money? Not necessarily. We talked about several axes and hatchets today that could be had fairly cheap, that are still a very good quality item. And my suggestion to you is, if I'm looking at bottom dollar figures or top dollar figures that I would be willing to spend for a vintage type tool that was heirloom quality, and I'm talking about something that's already in perfect working condition, and I can use it as is, has a mask on it, has a good hickory handle, the head's in really, really good shape, it's not wore down, it's not dented, chipped, the hammer pole's not banged over, and things like that. A good condition vintage axe. If I'm buying a cruising style axe and I can get it for less than $100 bucks, I've done it right. If I can buy a hatchet for less than $50, I've done it right. And if I can buy a felling axe for less than $150, I've done it right. So you really have to think about the fact that the majority of your budget is probably going to be taken up by your axe and your knife. And buy the best quality you can afford, but look for the best deal that you can find at the same time. That's what budget woodcrafting is all about. I'm Dave Canterbury, and I appreciate you joining me today. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for our sponsors, affiliates, instructors, and friends. And I'll be back with another video in this series as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.